Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 5:30, and I will call this regular meeting of the Burnsville City Council to order. Now, before we begin, I'd like to just make some opening remarks. You will see us all wearing Christmas attire and accessories because it is about merry and bright.
You're welcome.
And having a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone. So, it is our tradition to begin our meeting with a moment of silence followed by a pledge of allegiance, and we invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight's meeting is being conducted in person and online. Members of the public may attend in person or watch this meeting online on burnsvillemn.gov/meetings or Comcast Channel 16 or 859. The public can also participate through Zoom by joining us at zoom.us/join. More information is available on our meeting webpage and in the council agenda packet. The first item on the agenda is the announcements and some presentations. Our announcements have to do with all of our upcoming meetings. Regular City Council meetings are scheduled for Tuesday, January 2nd at 5:30 p.m. and Tuesday, January 16th at 5:30 p.m. We have a work session that's scheduled for Tuesday, January 9th at 5:30 p.m. And tonight, we have some recognitions that we would like to make, and I'm going to do that from that side. First, members of the community and council and staff, we have a Community Builders Award to present. Mr. John Hamilton was not available when we did Community Builders, but he is here tonight to receive his Community Builders Award. John was nominated for volunteering for the Burnsville Festival and Fire Muster by Councilmember Keeley. And John joined the Burnsville Festival volunteer team in 2022, and since then has been a one-person machine of endless work and dedication to the community. He chaired the initiative for a new sensory-friendly zone. He also helped with fundraising and volunteering, recruitment, and training. John, thank you for your dedication as a volunteer to the community, and I am honored to present you with the Community Builders Award and to pin you. So, one of the things that also happens is that for making a difference, I pin our community builders with this starfish, which is a symbol of the Star Throwers Award. And the impetus for this is to recognize people who are making a difference in the community. And Mr. Isley was the one who wrote about this story, and it goes like this. There's a gentleman who lives by the seashore, and every morning he takes a walk along the beach. And one morning, as he went to take his walk, he saw that the beach was littered with starfish. And as he walked, he saw someone in the distance who appeared to be dancing. But as he got closer, it was a young woman who was throwing something into the ocean. And he got up to her and he says, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Throwing starfish." He looked back where he came from and said, you can't possibly make a difference. The sun is rising and all of those starfish are going to die. She went over, took another starfish out of her gunny sack and threw it into the ocean and said it made a difference to that one. You see, each and every one of us make a difference each and every moment of our lives by doing good deeds, acts of kindness, a smile, sometimes make a difference in the life of somebody that you really don't know probably needed that. Just an act of kindness or a smile or how are you doing? So for that, I'm a community builder. You also make a difference. John, if you would come forward, please. And we're going to take a photo, and then we're going to be in the front of the council. So how about if I do this, and if it's okay with you, may I pin you?
You, of course.
Okay. Okay, turn around. So I think we can get the council in the back, but we'll also have another picture. How about if we do it right now? I'm trying to stand away from Councilmember Schultz.
You wouldn't want those antlers to cover her up.
I can. I can.
Thank you.
Thank you. So tonight, we also want to recognize our staff members who have made a difference in our organization. One of the things that is important to me and to all of us is to make sure that our community really sees what we do here in this organization to make a difference in our community through the work that we do. And tonight, I would like to award the Star Throwers Award of Gratitude and Appreciation for making a difference to Alyssa Ryan. Alyssa, why don't you come up? So Alyssa consistently supports our team's goals, striving for excellence in both our organization and Burnsville itself. Her dedication to quality solutions and high standards shines through in her objective approach to challenges and sound financial decision-making. She impressively manages audits, aids teams with the CIP and budget, and coordinates grant reporting, optimizing our resources. Her diverse contributions and unwavering commitment are vital to our overall success. So thank you, Alyssa, for all that you do in our community. So I'm going to hand this to you, but we're going to also go over there and do this. So, and Alyssa, may I pin you? Thank you. So we'll do it over here, and then we'll also then have everybody come.
Wait 1 second, Kelly.
Wait just 1 minute. There we go.
Yes, we need. And the other recipient of the Star Thrower Award is Officer Ben Archambault. Ben consistently radiates positivity, building trust and connection in our community. enhancing experiences. His active involvement in community events showcases his dedication and talents for fostering comfort through engagement. As a Burnsville Police Department ambassador, he excels with strong organizational skills, transparent communication, and unwavering positivity. His work and outlook inspires both his team and the wider community. If you have ever been to any of our events, you will see Ben. And he is always there making sure that everybody is having a good time and engaging with people. So Ben, I can't tell you how much I appreciate being with you and being there, celebrating our community, and just seeing you work. You work so well with those little kids. Did a wonderful job at the tinsel and treats event as well. Thank you so much.
It's fun.
So, continue. Okay. So, you know, when I see
bullet's
a
not gonna get
badging,
through it, I don't know
they
what
seem
pen
to
it is.
always struggle with putting it. Yeah, so we'll do it over here. Chief? And it's always nice because Officer Archambault is also here, supported by some of his team members and his beautiful wife, who is also a member of our police force. A picture of all of the recipients this evening, John and
Tanya.
Melissa.
Jenny.
Yeah. And then,
Sorry, thought you were getting out of it, didn't you?
you know, this is a good thing.
Hey, we're a team. Anyone like some antlers? Okay, just checking. Yes, I do. If you put I will buy you lunch.
Yes.
Thank you, Tanya. I love your Christmas spirit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we also recognize outgoing commissioners, but Commissioner Crystal Fitchett with the Economic Development Commission is sick this evening, and she called and she couldn't be here. So we'll get her plaque to her sometime in the next couple of weeks. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. This is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda and not an application form that will be coming before us at a future date. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council? Mrs. Collins, is there anyone online?
No one online, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We will then move on. The next item is additions to the final agenda, and this is for emergency items only. City Manager Lindberg, are there any emergency items to come before the council?
Nothing for staff, Mayor.
Thank you. Members of the council?
No.
Thank you. We then will move on. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. This is a grouping of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item on the consent agenda can be removed for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item on the consent agenda to be removed for a separate discussion and vote? Mrs. Collins, anyone online?
No one online, Mayor.
City Manager Lindberg, does staff want to pull anything?
Nothing from staff tonight, Mayor.
Okay, members of the council. I would like to pull 4E, and there is no objection. I value the relationship that we have with the chamber, but I would just like to pull it for transparency and to have people understand the nature of our partnership. So with that, may I have a motion to adopt the balance of the consent agenda, please?
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Okay. Members of the council,
We need a vote.
oops. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Item 4E is to approve the 2024 contract with the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce for Grow Minnesota Partnership. And I pulled this item for us to talk about it, and thank you to our Community Development Director, who will present the item so that not only are we well aware of this partnership, but also for the community to be aware of the partnership. And then the nature of the partnership, the goals and objectives, and then there are some things that I would like to talk about and how it then gets reported back, since it is a transaction where we use property tax funds through the EDA. And presenting then this evening is our Community Development Director, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So as part of our economic development strategic plan, we have a goal of convening and connecting with our business community on a regular basis to ensure we're meeting their needs and providing the city with connections to the business community. You know, I would say oftentimes we work with businesses in community development, but in the organization when there's an issue or a problem, or when they have a project that they're building in Burnsville, but we know that there are thousands of businesses in Burnsville that we want to make sure that we are getting out of City Hall and connecting with on a regular basis. So one of the best ways to do that is through a business retention and expansion project or a program. And that's to essentially make connections with businesses, meet with them individually, one-on-one with the businesses from small to large across the spectrum, just to learn to make the connection and to learn about the business. We do that really two ways. I would say there's a quantitative piece to business retention programs, and that's learning, like getting actual information and data from them in a survey that we have them fill out or we work through. And that's just to provide kind of what our businesses experience in Burnsville from a quantitative perspective that we can aggregate and then kind of learn more about the business environment as we gain more and more visits and more data from our businesses. The second, I think, is equally, if not sometimes even more valuable, which is really the relationship building piece with these businesses. I think there are three main things that we gain from this. One is just making those connections, right? We're connecting into the businesses. Oftentimes they are connecting us with other businesses and that within their network. Certainly we're able to connect them to resources, tools that we have or that we know are available in Burnsville or in Dakota County. The second goal is really just to be people focused. Again, building those relationships. We know oftentimes out of these business visits, Beth Weber from our team attends pretty much all of them. And oftentimes we get questions about other city departments, fire or police or public works. And we make sure that we come back with those questions or comments and make sure we make those connections into City Hall. So putting the face to city services as we get out and reach out to businesses. And the third is just the education, right? Connecting them into our events, our sponsorship opportunities, other education opportunities that exist in Burnsville. And then also us being educated about what their business is doing so we can ensure that they are successful and stay here in Burnsville and grow our local economy. So it's been a tremendous program. It's an important effort, again, as part of our larger economic development strategy to convene and connect our entire business and try to get to our business community best we can on an annual basis. It's a big task. When you have thousands of businesses and individual meetings, we want to make sure that we are reaching out and doing the business visits in their business and at a time that works for them. And so since 2020, we have partnered with the Burnsville Chamber to help just administer, facilitate, and then run the program. It's a joint partnership for sure. We both attend to gain those relationship building and also the data from businesses. But they help us make the connections with businesses, coordinate the meetings, do the scheduling, and again, kind of gather the forms and then also build those relationships. It's been successful. It's not just open to chamber members. It's something that we meet quarterly with the chamber to talk about progress updates, businesses we want to reach out to, make adaptations and changes to the program to kind of respond to the business needs. So this is, we do it, it's kind of an annual contract, or an MOU, so that's what's before the council tonight, is to approve the MOU between us and the chamber to continue that program into 2024. The cost remains $5,000 for the program, for the chamber's contributions. That's paid from our EDA budget, as part of our Economic Development Authority budget is where those funds come from, and it is included in our 2024 budget. I think the last piece you asked about was just reporting back. That's been done a couple different ways. I think most recently, we've invited the chamber, as part of the chamber's annual event. They've done a program
at their luncheon.
Yep, at the luncheon, to bring the Minnesota Chamber in to do kind of a what's happening in the business economy statewide, but then also kind of get into some of the more takeaways that we've learned from our business visits here in Burnsville. I think as we move into 2024, we're planning on doing quarterly updates to the council in your written reports on economic development updates across all of our initiatives. And I think we will look to kind of incorporate updates to this program in those quarterly reports to the council and the written reports, so you can see how the progress on this program is working throughout the year. And then I know Ms. Harmony and I connected today also about potentially engaging our Economic Development Commission and doing the annual report presentation there, right? So they have some time on their agendas to dig into the Burnsville specific findings, the businesses we're visiting, and frankly generate a lot of some of the connections and ideas for further businesses to reach out to in Burnsville. So that's an overview of the program. Again, from our view, it's been successful, and we think we've made some really good connections and with our business community as part of this program.
Thank you. That was very comprehensive. And I like what you said, that it's more than just the membership of the chamber, even though the chamber is scheduling the meetings, that you meet so that we are inclusive of businesses that are not members of the chamber. So I'm glad to hear that in your report this evening, because that was one of my concerns. This is about the whole business community, and we have over 2,500 businesses in Burnsville. The chamber's membership, I think, is anywhere between 450 and 500 members. So I just want to make sure that we're inclusive of all of that. The other thing that I would like, since it's about business retention, is that in the report back at the end of each year, I would like to know whether we encountered any conversations with businesses that are expanding and are wishing either to stay, or are we in jeopardy of losing them, and what can we do to retain them? So what are some of those things? Because that helps with our economic development efforts. And I like hearing you say that it's also going to go before the Economic Development Commission, because that's should be information that they should have within their scope of work as well. I also like the fact that it is part of our economic development strategy, and that helps with some of the goals and objectives that we have. And having a report before the council on an annual basis and to the community really speaks to our efforts within our organization to partner to make sure that we are meeting the needs of our business community as well as we meet the needs of others in our community. So thank you for that. And I value the partnership that we have with the chamber, and I like what you're reporting on and what this is going to happen. I like the quarterly reports so that we know how things are progressing. You all do that with each of your departments and how you report to us on all of your progress. So this is another one of those things that I think is going to be very helpful. I see Councilmember Keeley has questions or comments. Councilmember Keeley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I'm glad you brought this up because I like shining a light on things that are very positive. The collaboration and the history with the City of Burnsville and the Chamber of Commerce is very, very long. It goes back many, many decades to really the early days of this city and the development of our business community. And the value of membership is felt by those who participate. but it goes far beyond that. Connecting the community, connecting business owners, connecting non-chamber members who own a business with the community is part of keeping the business health of our city alive and well. Communication is king. It's everything, right? And business owners love to network with the chamber membership. They get great value out of that. Having been at a business where a visit was made by the Grow Business or Grow Minnesota and Grow Burnsville chamber visits, I can tell you that there's a great sense of community when folks from the agency but other business, like ambassadors, people from other businesses come into your business and show an interest in how you're doing and how things are going. And those types of events just really strengthen and solidify, in my mind, the health of our business community and why people, in many cases, choose Burnsville to bring their business, because we have a healthy business community. We have a very pro-business council, from my perspective, and that helps a lot. But having a healthy chamber that is active and engaged and partnering and collaborating with the city and the school district really brings it all together. So I think, I'm glad, Madam Mayor, you pulled this just so we could have this discussion, because sometimes, on consent, things sort of fly below the radar. It's published, but you have to go fishing for it and read about it. This gives a chance for us to talk about it and people to see us talk about it. So to me, it really elevates the priority of what this discussion is all about. And Jeff, thank you. I think you spoke very eloquently about really all the positive things that are coming out about this. I would ask that, since we do have the Chamber Executive Director or President available, I think it's an opportunity for Ms. Harmoning to come up and just say a few words from the Chamber's perspective on this whole partnership and collaboration.
Well, because this is very important, because we talk about transparency, and that has been the goal of what we've been doing since City Manager Lindbergh came into office, is that we want to make sure that we are continuously communicating to our community what it is we're doing and why are we doing what we're doing, so that it's open and transparent. And I wanted to make sure that our community knows what we do in our partnerships and what are we doing to take care of the health and vitality and retaining businesses in Burnsville.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mrs. Harmoning, are you? Yeah, right there.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity. We always value the partnership with the city. And just a little background, the Burnsville Chamber was a founding partner of Grow Minnesota with the Minnesota Chamber back in the 90s and has conducted these visits for decades. When we started talking about the economic development strategy in Burnsville and about how maybe the Chamber and city could come alongside each other, we said, well, one thing we struggle with at the Chamber is the bandwidth to prioritize these visits. So we don't do as many of the visits as we'd like to do. And the city said, hey, how can we come at this together? So I developed a budget and I said, well, if we partner, so the $5,000 that the city contributes is about a third of what it takes to execute the program from the chamber side. And we felt like that was a really robust partnership, and the city felt like that was good value for the BRE dollars. Business retention engagement dollars, I think. Of course, we kicked it off in 2020 in the thick of the pandemic, and it was a struggle doing virtual visits, doing visits in masks, all the good stuff. But I think Beth and I have really found our groove in visiting with people and other folks. I mean, I've had people from the police department and the fire department and other city staff come on visits that have just been fantastic. So I appreciate everything the city contributes to the partnership. I think we grow and develop the program a little bit more every year. So being that this was our, 3.5 years into it, I'm looking forward to how we can enhance it going forward. To your question, yes, we've had, the examples are actually the fun part. That's the best part that comes out of it. The businesses that we meet with that, first of all, the first thing we have to start with is the difference between the city and the chamber, what the chamber does, what the city does, who we are, and what we have to offer. And then they're always thrilled that we're at their business, that we want to know about their business, that we care about their business, and that we care if they're here. So yes, we've had great conversations about businesses that might be looking to expand or even relocate. and resources that we can provide, or businesses that are struggling with one thing or another, that we can connect them with things. So I always tell Beth it's the favorite part of my day. It's also the hardest thing to execute, because I'm sure you all relate to these business people are busy, and to break through and get on their calendar is the most challenging part, because they got a business to run. So we appreciate when they take the time, and we really value it. So thanks for the partnership.
Well, thank you for the partnership, and thank you so much for working with our staff, and thank you for, as we go forward, it's always about how do we improve the communication and transparency, not only to us, because this is on a staff level, but it's good for us to know how things are going, and also it's good for our community to hear about it.
And I will invite you now on January 31st to the Chamber Annual Meeting. Every year, we do invite the EDC and the City Council to join us for when the Minnesota Chamber comes to give the report. And then we provide the written report afterwards, as we will do again this year, and we'll look for ways to enhance that and improve it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson, I can't thank you enough for your excellent report this evening. And please know how truly grateful I am for answering the questions and making sure that we communicate to our community what we're doing. Thank you so much. Okay.
Need a motion?
I need a motion to adopt the item to approve the contract between the Chamber of Commerce and Grow Minnesota with the City of Burnsville.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you so much. Okay, we go to the regular agenda, and the first item on the regular agenda is to approve the amendment to Experience Burnsville's agreement. And presenting this evening is our Deputy City Manager and Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Jennifer Rohde. Mrs. Rohde, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. The item in front of you tonight is the approval of the 2024 agreement with Experience Burnsville. Recently, staff met with Experience Burnsville to discuss some proposed changes to the agreement. The three changes, in addition to some minor housekeeping changes, 3 changes to that agreement really are the following. To remove special business promotional events from their public calendar. It adjusts the timing for submission of the annual updates and marketing plan and budget to February 15th. And it also adjusts the deadline for the annual audit to October 31st of each year. So those proposed changes were included in the agreement attached to your background, and that agreement is in front of you for approval this evening. With that, I'll stand for any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Deputy City Manager, CFO Rohde? Councilmember Keeley.
Well, just maybe, I don't know if Mr. Rohde would like to, or if the CVB Executive Director would come up and just sort of give us a little bit of background on each of those changes that might, a little further explanation as to why. I think there's good reasons why, but maybe we
Yeah,
should hear
because
from
they
the rest of them.
initiated the changes with staff.
I realize it's written in the background, but, TV is the best way to explain something.
Okay. Mrs. Burrell, take the podium, please.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Yes, we did request a few amendments to our agreement, just based on some of the previous deadlines that we had missed and had asked the city for extensions in previous years. So the first one, to remove the special business promotional events from the public calendar. We were encountering non-tourism related businesses reaching out to us to put their events on our calendar. Grand openings, reopenings, ribbon cuttings, that type of thing. Great events for the community, not necessarily aligning themselves with visitors to our destination. So that was that request for the removal of that language. And then the timing for the submission of our annual updates. Our board of directors recently started meeting every other month. We're no longer meeting monthly, so we are challenged to meet the November 15th deadline for the next year's budget and strategic plan. So, and we also thought that presenting by February 15th, we would be able to give the council and city staff and the viewing audience an overview of our successes from the previous year, as well as talk about what we have planned for that year coming up. So that was a request for the February 15th. And again, a timing issue again on our annual audit with our board of directors meeting every other month. We were missing our deadline for our annual audit submission because with the board meeting in August and then again in October. We would typically receive the audit report sometime in August, but towards the end of August, which then we don't meet in September. And that would just allow our board not to call a special meeting, just to approve the annual audit. And we would be able to present that to Deputy City, I don't know, to Jenny Rhodey by October 31st.
So on your annual update and marketing plan is also when you submit your budget.
That is correct, Madam Mayor.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Oops.
So that still stays the same, Mrs. Rhodey? The budget is still attached to the update and and to the marketing plan?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, because that's what it was always.
Yes.
So I just assumed, but I wanted to clarify.
Yes.
That the budget is still a part of the marketing plan.
Great question and clarification. Yes, that's still tied to the budget, strategic plan, and marketing plan. We will have that presented to council by the 15th of February.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you. I think these are all reasonable requests,
Yep.
really dictated by some organizational
Changes.
structure change. The only one that might be a little more subjective, removing special business promotional events. I totally get that, though. It's not your mission to try and cover every single ribbon cutting or special event. That's not the purpose of the CBB. And whereas in the past you've tried to do the best you can to collaborate with the chamber and the city on trying to do those types of things, it can get difficult to get to all of them because it's really out of your your main mission per se.
Correct.
So I get it.
Yes. And we will still continue to have community events that the city host on our event calendar. And we can look at things, on a case-by-case basis. So we're open to, we just wanted to have clarifying language that would sort of help staff
delineate
out.
the differences.
Yeah. And, we want to be good stewards in the community and partners, but it was getting to be a bit much. And with our focus being destination driving, our marketing, we're looking to drive visitors into town now, like planning for February, and we're already talking about our spring-summer campaigns. So a lot of the local events are happening, in a week or two, which really isn't ideal for what a visitor might be looking to do.
Yeah, because I do know that we drive a lot of visitors to our events, our festivals, and I know that Party on the Plaza, the last time we had it, I was talking to people from Bloomington and from other cities, and I would always ask, how did you hear about us? And it's usually on the website, or else they heard it from somebody and from somebody. So it is driving traffic, and it's tourism, and it helps our businesses. City Manager Lindberg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Keeley, to your point, this has also provided us the opportunity, well, the presentation might be about removing an item from the agreement. Really, that's the administrative side from my perspective. This also has provided us the opportunity to talk with Amy and her board leadership about how we strengthen our partnership. You all are aware, and for the community's information, we're embarking on a communications assessment across our operation, and one of those things that we're going to focus on is calendarization for the community. Said another way, a better way of putting everything in one one place. And I really do believe that that's part of our role in being great partners here with Experience Burnsville as our CVB, but also with the Chamber and others across the community. So that's something we're looking at, and this will be a good kind of starting point for us not only to strengthen our partnership with Amy and her team, but also look at ways that we really can be good stewards of that information and help also get that out in our communications role. So we're looking forward to doing that over the course of the next year as well.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning that, because the partnership is very important, because people need to know that the city levies the tourism tax that we collect from hotels, that funds the activities of the Experience Burnsville. So again, it's about transparency, so those things our community needs to know, and that we have a strong partnership, that we work well together, and you work well with our staff. And I think you also send in a report to our staff on a monthly basis, if I remember that when I was on your board. So, and those are all good things, because it helps us to be accountable for what we're doing, and accountable to the people who come and visit us with their tax dollars, and also to our partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. It's accountable to our residents and businesses for the funds that we spend on those kinds of programs. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from Mrs. Barrow? Yes,
If I can
please.
just add one thing, Madam Mayor, members of the council, per the agreement, we do on a monthly basis submit to the city clerk's office our board of directors agenda, our monthly financial statement, and then our monthly dashboard for our marketing and promotions. So,
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I used to see it. So I'm not sure, where do we find it now, Mrs. Collins? The financial, what the CBB or the Experience Burnsville? Because I used to see that report and I used to read it, but now I don't see
Yes,
it.
we used to have the bi-monthly monitoring report that those were reported in, and we don't have that.
That,
anymore.
yes, the monitoring
Now.
report.
I believe Mr. Lindbergh puts that now in the council weekly
Okay,
as a link.
okay, yeah, and then I can just go and, once you get that report, City Manager Lindbergh, we can access that report that comes in.
That's correct, Madam Mayor. I've been sharing that in my weekly update to the council. However, I think this is a good opportunity for us to perhaps include that information in a monthly or bi-monthly written report as part of your work session agendas. So we'll look at a way to do that, to make sure that you and the community have ready access to that information. It's not just another link from me.
Yeah, but it's really great, because if there's other things that we can do to help with driving traffic to our community, all of us together, working together to make our community great is what it's all about. So,
we
thank you.
appreciate the partnership. Thank you.
Yes, Councilmember Keeley.
Yeah, I just want to say a little support for Amy and the organization. You know, COVID was tough on CVBs, chambers, and lots of organizations like that. And I think coming out on the other side of that, you know, the model's changed. Amy used to have a couple folks on staff. Now she's basically running it with outside resources, media. So it's a very lean machine of marketing agency. Think of it as a marketing agency. And a lot of the assets that are coming in are being deployed to really market heads and beds, right? Bring people in. And far less on, call it overhead, than maybe the model was 4 years ago. So hats off. I think it's a great model. It's working the best in the interest of the city and CVB. And that's why you're hearing things, people coming from other places to Burnsville, because they're getting the word out now, more so than they ever did before, right? And I know that in prior conversations over the last many years, things have changed in the CVB business a lot. I mean, we used to have, the CVB used to organize coach buses from Iowa, bringing people up to shop in Burnsville at the Burnsville Mall.
I used to schlep suitcases up the hotel that doesn't have an elevator.
Yes.
So a lot of things have changed, and through all that change and adversity, it's a really a very lean, very efficient run operation. And obviously, you get help from a great board chair and board. Your board chair is in the audience tonight. A very well-known, engaged citizen in Burnsville. But thanks. I think you're doing a great job. And these changes, I think, are all necessitated. But keep up the good work and getting the word out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, members of the council, if there are no other comments or questions, may I have a motion to approve the amendment to the Experience Burnsville Agreement?
I'll second it.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Thank you.
You were talking.
Then, the next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a U.S. Department of Justice Office of Community-Oriented Policing, COPS, for hiring program grant. And presenting this evening is our Chief of Police, Tanya Schwartz.
Thank you,
Chief
Madam Mayor,
Schwartz.
members of the council. Yes, just want to give you an update on the COPS grant, kind of where we're at right now. Just for background, so you know, and just as a reminder to the community, we applied for the COPS grant through the U.S. Department of Justice back in April of this year. And we asked for 3 full-time police officers in that process, 2 that would work out of our behavioral health unit, and 1 that would work out of patrol, but be focused on community engagement efforts. And we were awarded the maximum funding for that grant, which is exciting, here on November 2nd. And the city was actually awarded the maximum amount, $375,000, over the 3 years of the grant. What that also requires is that we would continue to fund that position for an additional 4th year. We would have to keep the officers for that amount of time, and like I mentioned, they'd be assigned to behavioral health and to our patrol division with community engagement. And then part of that is those positions were also identified, if you remember, in the Axtell Group study and the staffing assessment, so those funds could be used to help fund those positions of the 8 to 15 positions that TAG assessment recommended, so that we could continue to serve the community. So really, next steps, really above, beyond right now, is just looking ahead to the February work session. We would be coming back to you to talk about potential funding alternatives for the grant. And really with that, we'd just be looking for tonight, is the council willing to adopt the resolution to accept the award of grant this evening? With that, I would stand for any questions.
Councilmember Keeley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, I've always wondered this $375,000, has that changed ever?
I don't think it has. I think that's been the maximum amount, and then it's over that. That's the entire amount for the 3 years. So it's not $375,000 every year. It's,
Right.
Yes.
And I see the estimated funding 3-year period. City would be 792, so does that mean the 375 is about a third of what the real costs are?
Yes, I'm not the finance person, but that sounds correct to me, Jenny.
Just rough
Yes,
numbers.
roughly.
Yeah,
roughly.
so, gotcha. So and then the last number, the 421, that's really what we anticipate the total for those 3 officers in the 4th year would be.
Correct.
In the 421,
Yes,
right?
correct.
But the 792 is the first 3 years, our part paired up with the grant funding.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for our chief? If not, may I have a motion, please, to adopt the resolution authorizing the acceptance of the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Community-Oriented Policing Hiring Program grant?
Move to approve?
There's a motion to, and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you so much, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, members of the council, there are no other items to come before us this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. We stand adjourned, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you for being with us.
No.